there is no feeling that compares to finding a new 5-star book. So for today's video, I've decided we're going to read some books based off my 5-star reads in hopes we find a new one. So let me run through all the books we're going to read based off my previous 5 stars. Not being funny, but 𝘴𝘰𝘤𝘪𝘢 is potentially one of the best things to ever happen to me. So we obviously had to pick a book based off this series. This is a 5-star series for me. However, the books individually aren't all 5 stars. So I'm just basing this next read off of the series as a whole in terms of it being fantasy and romantasy. Therefore, we're going to be reading 𝘴𝘰𝘪𝘢. I have already started. I've only got this little chunk left. But to be honest, you've not been missing out because I'm not massively into it, but we'll get into that later. I'm not 100% sure on the genres each of these books are, but they're both fantasy. There's both a very large plot of romance in there. Ooh. A matcha at 10 AM is dangerous, but your girl needed some energy to film this video because I don't get a lot of sleep these days. Oh my god, these curls. I'm obsessed with these curls. These are from Sock Curls, guys. They're stunning. They're so cute. Anyways. Next, my next 5-star read was 𝘔𝘰𝘳𝘦 and the Six. Oh my god, this book, I cannot put into words how much I love this book. This was a massive hyperfixation of mine over the summer. I finished it in 3 days. I got my mum to read it. I bought it in a charity shop, which is why it's so orange, and it's the best thing I ever did. I don't know the exact terms, but this is written in like an interview style. Reading the band talk about everything that happened in the past, but it feels so present and you feel like you're really there with them, which is what I love. I'm a big fan of first person writing. I hate third person. And obviously, because this is first person, and obviously because it's written like an interview, you're literally there as they're saying it. So, great. 5 stars. Then I went on to watch the series, another 5-star banger. Then I listened to the soundtrack individually, 5 stars. This whole concept is a 5 stars. So you better have a lot of her books on my TBR because Taylor Jenkins Reid, you absolutely killed this. Therefore, I went to a charity shop, I think like last week, and I only went and found bloody Carrie Soto is back. So I was gassed about that. My expectations are very high considering of how much I've loved 𝘴𝘰𝘳𝘦. I also love how similar the covers are, even though they're a completely different story. This story is about the cost of greatness and the burden of fame. I don't really think it's a romance, but it probably has a side plot, no doubt. I don't know a lot about this book at all, to be honest, so I quite like that I'm going into it blind, besides the fact that I know I love the author. If anyone has also read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, please let me know because I want to read it so bad because I've only heard good things. I've only heard good things and I'm so gassed to read that one as well. Another one of my 5-star reads, Powerless. This whole series is a 5-star. In fact, every single book in this series individually is also a 5-star. I'm so damn excited for Fearless to come out next year. In my birthday month, may I add, and Lauren Roberts also posted a TikTok that I posted. So it's obviously fantasy, but the romance plot is just as big, if not bigger than the fantasy element. I have read the first Hunger Games, gave that 4 stars, loved it. But now it's time to read the second one, which is our next little comparison going on here. This is Catching Fire by Susan Collins. I'm very excited to read this because I loved the first one so much. I only gave it a 4. It's absolutely beat. I got it in the charity shop. I get loads of my books in the charity shop and it's literally coming apart. But honestly, £1, I'll take it. I also watched the first film the other day. It was so good. We've now got our nice little chunk of books we're going to read in hopes to find a new 5-star book. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping the hopes are high. Also, comment down below any of your 5-star books because I would love to read 5-star books based off your recommendations. I think that'd be a really fun video to film. Here is now my 𝘴𝘰𝘪𝘢 update. I'm on page 223. Let me actually highlight the 222 because I like to highlight angel numbers when I spot them on the pages. Just a spiritual girly at her finest. Also gonna finish my matcha. It started off quite well. I was getting into it. I started tabbing. I've been tabbing the really important pages I feel like meaningful and that I might want to go back to. I've highlighted a little bit here and there, mainly just like any heartfelt things that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. For example, hope is a possibility. Wait, fuck, I fucked it up. Hope is a pocket of possibility. I'm holding it in my hand. And in this case, she was holding quite a significant object for the book. What else have we got? Oh, this is a TikTok audio. I love when you're reading a book and you find a TikTok audio. I think it's so like cute. I reckon I can probably finish it in just over an hour. So I think I'm gonna sit down, attempt to finish this now, maybe film some more content, but we'll see. I feel like because of Throne of Glass and the plot twist and the plot period is incredible and impeccable and so well thought out, this feels very bland. Oh, I also forgot, so this is not really part of the video, but I'm also listening to Funny Story on audiobook at the minute because one of my biggest tips for anyone who finds an author who they really like, but the books are a little bit too slow, a bit too mellow, you get kind of bored reading it. For For example, for me, Emily Henry is that author where I've read Beach Read, I've read Happy Place, loved them both. I thought the plot was really good, gave them 3 stars, but they were a little bit too slow. I can admit they're good books, but in terms of my liking, they were just a bit too mellow, a bit too slow. Therefore, that makes them the perfect audiobook, so I don't have to concentrate too hard. I can have it on in the background and still be able to keep up. Hey queens! I low-key forgot to mention the literal plot of this book. Long story short, you have a girl, she's trapped in like prison. It's kind of giving like an insane asylum vibe, and she has powers. No one can touch her or they die. She hasn't spoke to anyone in about a year, and then suddenly there's a man comes in her room and he's also now sharing this cell with her, and she's like, what the hell? Because she helps him, she kind of shows him the way of how to survive in this crazy place. From there on, you progress and you find out who he is, where he's come from, his own story. He's like the second character in this book. It's kind of a similar aspect to be fair, modern life, but also Hunger Games, in the sense that in terms of us, it would be the government. In terms of the book, it's the re-establishment. And it's basically about how they're destroying the world, and they're like, the re-establishment are convinced that what they're doing is going to help the world and da-da-da-da, but like it's so clear that they're only doing it for themselves. The re-establishment want to use Juliet as a weapon because she has powers. She has to try and fight back, escape. Also, she has to try and find herself a future in a place where she's not welcome, as well as the fact that no one's really welcome in this place because the government have destroyed everything that they once had. Good morning, my beautiful people. What am I sitting on? My phone case. It's been, I think, 2 days since I last filmed, and I officially have 1 chapter left and we're going to read it together. I don't know if it's going to be a plot twist. This book is like half a plot. It's literally just like a starter introduction, it feels. It feels like this isn't even a whole book in itself. Also, Wicked's finally out now as well, so I need to go see that before I die without knowing what happens. Chapter 50. Oh yes, I forgot to mention, okay, this is kind of a spoiler a little bit, but she finds out she's not the only person with powers. So she kind of, it's quite, I love it. It's like found family almost, it's quite sweet. Highlight is coming out. I'm wondering when I became the motivational speaker, when I made the switch from hating myself to accepting myself, when it became okay for me to choose my own life. Okay, done! You join me on my bedroom floor and we're going to discuss this book. Star rating, 3 stars. Unfortunately not a 5-star, which is quite sad. I do think this choice is good based off ACOTAR. It definitely was a good link through the fantasy realm. It's nothing I haven't already read, do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like a spin-off of like Powerless or something. It's a really good way to get into fantasy, and it is a good book. I'm not denying it's a good book, it is a good book. It's just because I've read so much more intricate ones. If I hadn't have already bought the rest of the series, I don't think I would continue it, but because I bought them all in one go, I feel like I need to, and I will. I'm not dreading it, but I'm not excited. Take all that from you will. And let's go on to the next book. We're back and it's time for my most anticipated read of this video, and I'm so damn excited. I'm so damn excited, man. I've read quite a few bad books in a row, so I feel like I'm kind of just sick. I fear that I can feel myself going into a slump is what I'm trying to say, which does terrify me. I just took a look at the Goodreads reviews and they were all pretty damn good, so my hopes are still high, to be fair. It's also a brand new book that I charity shopped. The spine's not even cracked, so... Also, look how cute this bracelet is. This is from 𝘴𝘰𝘤𝘪𝘢. I'm going to leave the link down below, which will take you straight to the website so you can have a little look and browse yourself. This is a literary fiction. I'm not sure anything else, to be honest. Mama, a new book behind you. Oh my god, I've been watching Stranger Things for the last couple of weeks, and me and my family are on to season 3. I'm slightly obsessed with Steve Harrington. Just slightly. And I then went on to find out, you know the song called End of the Beginning, I think it's called? It's like a really popular TikTok song. He sings that. And I posted a TikTok being like, oh my god, I never knew Steve Harrington sang this. Obviously because I've only just started Stranger Things. Tell me why I'm getting attacked in my TikTok comments. I always make a big thing out of reading the first few pages of a book. Like, I will read these pages that no one else reads. Let's get it. What a professional angle I've just put you in. I've just finished the first 2 chapters, the first 24 pages. So far, so good. Definitely not the same vibe, which I kind of expected because obviously one's about a band, this is about a tennis player. I found out that she lives with her dad, her mum died, and she's basically the best tennis player in the world, and someone has just taken her place as the best tennis player in the world. And this book is about her fighting to get that back, basically. The only thing I will say is because I'm not a tennis fan, nor do I know anything about tennis, when they talk about the tennis technicalities, is that the word I want to use? I don't know. I don't care, quite frankly. I hate books that put really niche stuff in that the average person probably wouldn't know. Hey Queens, I'm back. Today is the 5th of December. Crazy. I've been binge watching Bridgerton. I'm the sort of person where I don't watch a show until 2 years after it's popular. I don't know why. I'm way further through 𝘴𝘰𝘤𝘪𝘢 is back, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm on page 222, Make-A-Wish. There is a slight romance interest on at the minute, which I am quite enjoying because I do love myself some romance. And I do like seeing her character development because at the minute, so she's a very cold person and she's not willing to back down from a fight ever. And at the minute, we're at a point where she's kind of thinking, maybe change isn't so bad. Let me read you a quote. I also haven't highlighted at all, and I hadn't tabbed until last night, but I found some things that I was like, you know what? If I want to tab, I want to tab. Do you know what I mean? So the first thing was, because obviously Taylor Jenkins Reid also wrote Daisy Jones and the Six, which actually was my top artist on Spotify Wrapped this year, which is kind of funny. And also my top 5 songs were all Daisy and the Jones songs, which is funny as well. The book I bought is an unauthorised biography of Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm only reading to see who slept with who, but I can't focus, which I thought was funny because it's sane. And then the second thing I tabbed was something a little bit more heartfelt. And as it begins to sink in, I feel myself tearing up. I keep thinking, I don't cry on the court, I don't cry on the court. But then I think, maybe it's a line that am I okay? But then I think maybe it's a lie that you have to keep doing what you've always done, that you have to be able to draw a straight line from how you acted yesterday to how you'll act tomorrow. You don't have to be consistent. You can change, I think, just because you want to. And so for the first time in decades, I stand in front of a roaring crowd and cry. And I just thought that was so cute because this bitch, she's hard as nails. Hey, oh my god, it's quite bad actually. Maybe I shouldn't feel looking like this. As you can tell, I've got conjunctivitis in my left eye. So we're looking really good today, but I honestly just wanted to wrap up. I've been trying to film and create content all week, but I started off my week spewing, then I got a cold and a cough. I have not slept in a week. Then I had a nosebleed last night and now I've got conjunctivitis. Someone's evil eyeing me and you're gonna fucking get it, I swear to fuck. I'm sick of this. I finally finished 𝘴𝘰𝘤𝘪𝘢 is back. As you guys know, I read it based off Daisy Jones and the Six. First of all, I love how they matched the font. It's such a vibe and it's really good on the shelf. Just saying. 3 stars. We seem to have a little 3-star pattern going on here. And to be honest, 3 stars in my eyes is actually quite a good book. 3 stars is giving, it's a solid book anyone may enjoy. In comparison to Daisy Jones, the only thing I would really say that kind of links them is the independent, confident woman sort of feminist plot going through them. She's come back into the tennis world because someone's trying to take her best tennis player in the world title. And she said, nah girl, that's mine. By the end, you start to watch her become a bit emotional and it's actually really beautiful in a way, which sounds really cringe. I still remember reading a particular page where she cried for the first time and I was like, she really bases her self-worth on winning as opposed to like how she feels within herself and how people see her. And therefore she really struggles with that self-fulfillment, I guess, because she constantly feels like she needs to be doing more. It's really quite something because right at the end, there's a big plot twist. And it broke my heart. If you're not really big into tennis, like myself, and you're worried about not really enjoying it because of the tennis aspect, don't fret. They do definitely mention a lot of tennis techniques and whatnot and language, but not in the aspect where you can't get yourself involved from an outside perspective. You can still understand, you still know what's going on. Was I skimming some of it? 100%. For my romance lovers, there is a subplot, a very, very small, may I add, subplot of romance, but it's still a subplot and we're still going to take what we can bloody get. I really hope that was a good enough explanation. I do fear that I'm not great at explaining books, but I hope I can fulfill your needs and that was good enough. And on to the next book. It's time for our third little book match. If you're going to read any fantasy book, or romantasy book at least, let it be this. Yeah, look at them tabs. And in comparison, as you guys know, we're going to be reading Catching Fire, The Hunger Games. This is the second book in The Hunger Games. I gave the first one a 4 stars, a 4.5 stars actually. I thought it was really, really good. The whole series as a whole really is all about how their government, and in the book, their government is called the capital. It's all about how they just control them. If you've read the first Hunger Games, you kind of know that Katniss did something that made the capital hate her, and it kind of like disrupted the natural order of the way they do things, and now they're pissed as hell, and Katniss has to now deal with the consequences of her actions. We're back. We're currently ordering a Kindle as we speak. Started Catching Fire. We're going to continue to read. We're up to page 87. Really nice, eerie, high tension sensation watching Katniss realise that she's kind of fucked up. We're back, and allow my appearance. We've got a hair mask in. I'm about to go on a dog walk, so we're looking a little bit funky right now. I just want to give you a little update. My one thing I would say is, obviously, because we this is kind of a spoiler. Okay, if you don't want to know, then skip. They get put back into the trials because the capital hates them so much. Lol. And you would think because it's repetitive that it'd be really boring and like not fun to read because you've already read this whole trial thing. But it is different and it is still good. However, it's not, you can almost guess how it's gonna end sort of thing. You kind of know what's coming. A few people died where I was like, don't actually give a shit, mate. Because these characters pass and like as people were never elaborated, you don't care when they die. We're back, and I'm now going to talk you through how I felt about Catching Fire. First of all, 3 stars. We officially have an all 3-star pattern running through this video, which is quite funny actually. Also very depressing because I have not read a good book since summer, and I fear there's a reading slump coming, but I refuse to let it take hold. Although I did start Tower of Dawn, which probably wasn't my best idea, but also I really missed being in that world. So we're kind of watching Katniss live her everyday life. So we're kind of watching her life now. She's won the trials from the first book, and we're watching her realise that she's kind of fucked her life up. Not only herself, but also everyone around her who cares, because the capital just want to get revenge any way they can without it being too obvious it's them doing so. She gets thrown back into the trials. Part that was a bit boring was the fact that because you have already read about the trials, you kind of know what to expect, and you kind of know just how far the capital will go, and you know where the line is. Do you know what I mean? In the first book, there was that suspense of how far will the capital go. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really enjoy it. I feel like I'm struggling to find things to tell you. But one thing I do really enjoy is how, what's his name? You see a lot more of Gale in this book. Not a lot more, but you do see more than the first book. So I like seeing her childhood romance come back into it, because I feel like he's actually quite a key character in some ways. This gives very much novella vibes, but it's not a novella. So it almost feels like a waste of my time. But like, you learn to appreciate these sort of books because obviously they give you depth, they give you the emotion, they give you the backstories and the trauma, and you get to explore how Katniss has actually been traumatised by this experience. As so Peter, this you. I look so tired because I am. I can't believe we've completed this little challenge we set ourselves, and we now have our 3 new books that we've read based off our 5-star reads. Unfortunately, we did not find a new 5-star read, which is a massive shame. However, these are still all books I know I wanted to read at some point anyway, so I'm glad we've gone through them. I'm glad we know what we're feeling. Every single book we ended up giving a 3 stars, which is kind of a shame. However, in my eyes, a 3 stars means a solid book. We started with Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. Please correct me if I've said that wrong. Very, very simple, mellow fantasy, which some people love, especially if you're just getting into it. However, I personally prefer myself something a bit more intricate. It is a good plot. I really like the characters, and I really like that it's first person, because first person is my sort of taste. Number 2, Carrie Soto is back. I actually saw a TikTok and I think it's pronounced Soto. So this whole video I've been saying Soto, but I'm pretty sure it's Carrie Soto, which is brilliant, by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We read this based off Daisy Jones and the Six, which is my favourite 5-star book of, actually favourite is a big statement, but I felt like from the beginning I was waiting for something a bit more to come into it besides tennis, and you do eventually get that background and that depth. And I really dislike the comedy humour of Carrie Soto. She's just so funny, and she's just so like dry and just does not give a flying about anyone's opinion, and it's so funny. And low-key, like, it's one of the things where you want to take a few leaves out of her book. You want to kind of, my hair looks so long right now. What the frick is going on? Anyways, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, girl. And last but not least, we read the second Hunger Games book, Catching Fire. This definitely was probably the biggest letdown out of all 3 books. I definitely Felt like I was just reading it for the sake of reading the series and getting through it. It's necessary for the plot, but it's giving novella, but put into like, what's this, 300 pages? But put into 400 pages. This definitely could have been shorter. But then again, they had to put things in, so you see the emotions, you see the background, because this is like the behind the scenes book. And it's also got a great cliffhanger at the end, so you will be inclined to read the last book. So please let me know if anyone's read any of these books. Give me your opinions, give me your reviews, and let me know what other book videos you'd like to see in the future. Love you!